and he had given me an envelope and I kind of forgot about it. And I think you might have said something like, "Hey, didn't Josh give you something?" And you said something. I was like, "Oh yeah." And I opened it up and a $1 check came out and he just said, "Thanks for your podcast." And I was like, how a lawn care business owner find value from this event.
A lot of good business lessons, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of funny stories, sad stories, all that.
The world-class training that you're going to get.
It's going to be epic, to be honest.
Your network is your net worth.
We're going to be interviewing a lot of folks that you might want to speak to.
It's like the biggest movie theater you've ever seen in your life. My plan is to...
I heard you let the cat out the bag already, so that's... Don't forget to put in the code and you'll save $25 off registration.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Green Industry Podcast. I have my most frequent guest on the program, and I got to be honest, my favorite guest for sure. Naylor Taliaferro. He used to be my unofficial co-host. He had so much fun. He just started his own podcast, the LCR Media podcast. So what's up, Naylor?
What's going on, man? Thanks for that. I don't know how to live up to that expectation of that intro, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I was spoiled back in the day, man, when you travel with me in Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois. You were setting up, making sure I had my podcast, my water. I didn't have to worry about nothing.
Yeah.
And then you like, I'm going to start my own podcast. So now I'm back to having to remember to hit record and all that nonsense.
Yeah, that was a good time, man, especially when you couldn't get through the automatic revolving door fast enough. Oh man, those were some fun times. We need to dust off the old suitcases and go and hit the road again or something.
Man, it's like 1 a.m. They were having a hotel party. I mean, it was on and popping. It had to be after midnight.
Yeah. In the middle of COVID, it was on and popping.
it was some interesting characters down there. So then I'm so exhausted, and we finally get to the hotel room, and then Naylor wants to try on all these clothes he got during the day, and he wanted to. And I'm sitting there thinking, "Go to bed, Naylor." And I look over there, you're setting all these pillows up on your bed. I'm like, "What is this?" You said, "I'm going to pretend it's my wife." I was like, "Oh my God, I'll get my own room next time."
Yeah, the big beds are empty, man. It's a big bed when you're sleeping by yourself. I know you're a bachelor over here. You're used to just having the whole bed to yourself, but it's a whole different world when you're not used to that. It's lonely. So anyway, good times, man. We have some good times for sure. And and I enjoyed being on your podcast. I enjoy being on everyone's podcast, and I enjoy my podcast as well. So I just think bringing great content to the community consistently in all types of levels is great. And this is where people can really listen while they're working. They don't have to worry about looking at something specifically, so they can kind of work and listen, whether it's podcasts, audiobooks, or music. I think it's a really good way to create content for sure. In addition to everything else, of course, I love all the visual stuff too, but totally different format, different things, different stuff. Have good conversations and interviews this way. So I'm glad I'm back.
Yeah, and then that was the night Josh Sutton gave me $500.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he had given me an envelope, and I kind of forgot about it. And I think you might have said something like, "Hey, didn't Josh give you something?" And you said something. I was like, "Oh yeah." And I opened it up, and a $500 check came out, and he just said, "Thanks for your podcast." And I was like, "Whoa, man, that was really encouraging."
Yeah.
I didn't say like, "Hey, someone give me," like, he just gave me a $500 check to say thanks for the podcast.
Yeah. That's really cool, man. That just shows you how much. That seems like a long time ago at this point, but
it was the early days. Yeah.
But you were rocking and rolling by that point. Your podcast was blowing up and everything at that point. So it wasn't like you had just started, but look at how far you've come now. But you were really making an impact, and you are even more making an impact now. You just keep getting after it. So you've been paving the way for us, man.
Well, I want to pick your brain about some events we have upcoming. I was just in Nashville. I drove by the Gaylord Opryland Hotel. It's this gigantic, like, it looks like a shopping mall basically, and it has this outdoor feel when you're indoors. There's like glass roofs, so while you're inside, you feel like you're outside. It's really cool, and we're going to be going to an event there. So I was all fired up because I had to drive by it to get to my hotel. So tell us why we're going to Nashville in August, Rook.
Well, that's the huge convention. They want to be the premier service industry convention. They want everyone in the service industry, whether it's lawn care, housekeeping, window cleaning, pressure washing. I mean, you name it, anything out there in the service industry, they want to be the premier convention for that, so that you can get all the education, because as you know, there's a lot of overlap, right, between the businesses. I mean, we all have client issues, we all have to know our numbers, we all should have some sort of CRM for invoicing, estimating software, and keep track of all our clients and communication. And it doesn't matter really what services we're offering, we're a service-based business. There's just a lot of overlap there, a lot of good business lessons, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of funny stories, sad stories, all that. The huge convention has been going on for many years, and they really are trying to grow within the service industry to not just be catering to one specific service. As we know, a lot of the ones in our industry, for lawn and landscape, for example, and then there's every other industry has their own thing. Pavers, patio, blacktop, like they all have their own thing. Construction, hardscaping, all that. But some of them overlap, some of them combine, and the huge convention is really trying to be an educational one-stop shop for business owners to go and learn. There's a ton of resources, classes, speakers, panelists, as well as booths, vendor booths, of course, for you to go check out all the different products and equipment and things for various different industries. And that's growing as well. So they reached out to me because they wanted to know how they could tap into the lawn and landscape community, how they can, offer the benefits to us, to the lawn and landscape community, because they know that everything overlaps. Everything that I just said, they already know that, and they want to continue growing within all of the different service industries, all the different services. So they reached out to me to see if I could, help out. And I thought about, hey, let's bring Pod Row there, right? We already did that Synced Live in Atlanta not too long ago. It seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't that long. Time flies. And we were just there, and that's growing and evolving. So they're going to give us a huge section, 5 booths worth of space. So it's literally going to be like Pod Row. Like it's going to be a whole section.
Sweet.
We're gonna have a banner and everything, Pod Row, and people are just gonna walk over or walk by or look down and be like, what is that? And come over and check it out. And you're going to be there. I'm going to be there. John Pajak's going to be there from the green industry, podcasting away, as well as the owner, one of the owners of the huge convention, who I've been talking to a lot, Jonathan. He's knows of some other podcasters in different spaces like window cleaning, pressure washing. He's going to reach out to them, see if they want to jump on board. So whoever we can get to fit in that 5 booth space, we're going to sit down and we're going to podcast for the few days that they have going on.
And Christine Hodge is going to be there. Her and her husband own a big, gigantic pressure washing business in New Jersey. They do like 1,100 pressure washing jobs at Summer's Wild, and they clean roofs and everything too. So I was telling her all about it. She's so pumped up, and she's like, you think that I can be on the, yeah. I was like, we're going to run you through the circuit. Pajak, Naylor, myself will all interview her. She's amazing business story of like scaling a gigantic pressure washing business. So it'll be fun to get to hang out with Christine too. She's a hoot. I was just hanging out with her at the Jobber event in Nashville. So
yeah, that's sweet, and I'm looking forward to that, as well as all the other folks that you and I have never even met. Just like when we were at Synced Live, we met so many panelists, keynote speaker, attendees from all different parts of the industry that we would have never come in contact with, didn't even know existed if it wasn't for going to Synced Live to do Pod Row. We had Malcolm, who landscaped a private island. I mean, that's epic. And you and I both had him on our podcast, back in the archives there. He told his story, and he was on their magazine, Synced, and we interviewed all types of other folks with all types of different backstories and parts of the industry. A lot about like horticulture and soil health and design and building, like all, as Synced Live says, all the different sectors, bring it to the design, build, and maintain. So we had a lot of good content coming out of that, which is the ultimate point. Of course, going to these events, going to the Synced Live, going to the huge convention, and many more down the road to come, is beneficial just for that alone. But then also being a part of Pod Row, if you have a story you want to tell, come meet us, stop by, sit down, or maybe we've been in contact already and we just could never, line up a time to sit down and like this, and virtually have a podcast. This is a good opportunity, especially if you're close enough by. I know there's a lot of surrounding states that are in our community to Nashville area. So, you could stop by for sure, as well as take advantage of all that the huge convention has to offer. But there's going to be a lot of great content coming out of Pod Row is the ultimate point. So yes, it's just like, there's like a triple play there. If you're going to have all the education, going there to the huge convention, you're going to potentially, if you want to, you can meet us and get on the podcast, and then all of the people that we're going to interview, like such as Christina and everyone else. Christine. Yeah, I was going to say, or is it Christine?
Yeah, Christine. She's one of the keynote speakers.
Right. Yeah. So there's going to be lots of keynote speakers. If you go on their website, there's a whole list of folks that are going to be speaking. Also, Marvin Salcido with Salcido Lawns, he's going to be there as a speaker as well. So there's going to be a lot of folks that we're going to get on the podcast, which we can, for those of you that couldn't come, or you went and you just weren't able to go to everything, right? You can't necessarily go to every single class, seminar, and keynote speaker. You'll be able to hear a little bit about what they had to say on our podcast. So just a ton of content coming out after Pod Row, just like from Sync Live. I just wrapped up like some of the episodes from Sync Live. I had so much in the backlog to go through from all the events throughout the winter. So I'm looking forward to the huge convention so we can get some more fresh content going and collaborate with each other and hang out and meet everyone that attends and just have a good time. So I just really think it's a great idea to just continue building the community in new, innovative ways. And I'm just always trying to think outside the box of what, like obviously these are not brand new ideas, like Radio Row, as you have talked about in the past at the Super Bowl that, just passed. They had a great representation there. You had sent me some video links and things.
And stuff was
yeah, it was epic. There was actual radio stations. Then there was a ton of podcasters.
Yep.
Like, wow, it's like the whole landscape, no pun intended, is completely changing. And they all had different variations. Some of them had fancy tables, tablecloths, a makeshift booth that they set up, whatever. I mean, they all had their thing there, their whole portable studio set up. Some people just had a table and chairs and some mics, and they just got whatever they could, and they got in where they could get in where they fit in. And I wanted to kind of take a slice of that. As you had mentioned, you brought this idea up to me a long time ago, and I just wanted to really help it come to fruition and see what we can do and see how many more conferences, conventions, trade shows we can be in and keep so we can kind of like regionally go around, because not everyone, as you know, can go to everything. Everyone tends to go to EQUIP because it's the big mamma jamma of the year, but which is probably a good segue for you there. But there's a lot of other trade shows throughout the year that are good, but not everyone can go to them logistically, financially, and all that stuff. So if you're close enough to it, then you might be able to zip in for one day or so.
And this is my first time going, so I don't want to overhype it. And then I think it's going to be amazing. But one thing that Jonathan emphasized to me is the world-class training that you're going to get as a small business owner. I mean, Christine Hodge, they run a operation up there in New Jersey. You firsthand have seen what Marvin does down there in Texas. Excellent company. And so what Jonathan was mentioning to me, because I asked him point blankly on my podcast, I said, it's for power washing companies, pressure washing companies. How can a lawn care business owner find value from this event? And he was somewhat offended. He was like, you're going to get the nuts and bolts of entrepreneurship, small business owner lifestyle of running that successful business. And it's a lot of heavyweights teaching. I saw one of, I think his name's Dan Platt or something like that. He's on Keith Kalfas's podcast a lot. I think maybe he does Keith's books or something. I don't know. I've listened to him before. Mr. Producer sent me a, Keith Kalf. Mr. Producer's a big Keith Kalfas fan, but he had sent me a podcast video a long time ago, and it was that guy. I think his name's Dan Plott or something like that. But I watched the video. It was about bookkeeping and knowing your numbers and all that stuff. It was great, and that guy's another one of the speakers. So, from an educational perspective, whereas EQUIP isn't known for its educational trainings. I mean, it just isn't.
Right.
It's known for the networking and the booths and the equipment. Jonathan is more like the booths and the equipment and all that is kind of like secondary, but it's they're really on top of making sure you get world-class training. So, and the venue is fantastic. If you guys go to the huge convention, look at the link will be in the show notes, but there's pictures of the room where the convention is. It is so nice. It's like a country music world-class venue there at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel. I've been there and went to like a concert in that room before. It's just really, really, really unique experience. Really nice room. It's like the biggest movie theater you've ever seen in your life type thing.
Nice.
And again, the hotel, you don't have to stay at the hotel. If you would rather stay at the Hampton Inn or Hilton Garden Inn or one of those hotels for your budget. But if you do have a wife, the Opryland Hotel is, something she would have a blast hanging out at while you're, doing your X's and O's with business. It's a destination, way different than Louisville, where it's kind of like,
yeah, I'm definitely excited. I think August is a good time also for, I was trying to be very selective or not select, trying to be very strategic with all these things too. Like there's so much stuff going on in the winter, right? Because we know we're so busy throughout the rest of the year. So now there's like so many different events, myself included. I've got multiple events going on, and everyone, is trying to do stuff in the winter because that's when typically it's the slowest, unless you've got snow to plow and there's a storm that comes through or whatnot. So it ends up becoming very saturated. So I think like what other times can we stagger things out? We know in the fall and October we have EQUIP, and so there's like a whole summer. It's like, okay, well, there's a spring rush. We can't really do anything there. But what about after the spring rush and things kind of start phasing or winding down is what I'm trying to say. And you kind of like get your breath, get your bearings, refocus, then you kind of get through the hot summer. So by August, it's kind of like the dog days of summer, right? And you're tired, exhausted, drained, might be starting to get a little burned out. That's where you start going into September. And then by October, you're all ready to go and pumped up for EQUIP. But in August, the end of August, going to the huge convention might be that boost that you need to kind of get you into the fall, end the summer off strong, hit the fall hard. And then by the time you get to the end of October for EQUIP, you're just living the high life, and then you can wrap up the season in the next month or two, depending on where you live and what you got going on. So I feel like end of August is really another good time for us to take a break from everything and fit this in to come network. As those of you that know, going to any live events in our community, that's where it's at. The energy is real. You can't explain it. You have to experience it. Like we said, there's a lot of education there. I haven't been there before either, but I know Marvin has been there several times. He's spoken there several times. Yeah, Keith Kalfas goes. I mean, it's a legit operation. It's not like it's brand new or anything. Like it's definitely been going on for a while. And they just keep growing and getting bigger and better. And they're trying to get as many folks from other industries and service industry involved as possible. So I think it'll be a good time to go there, learn, network, get on some podcasts if you want to, or just, watch, check it out, and then look forward to also just coming by Pod Row. That's going to be like, anyone is going to be there, right? We're going to be interviewing a lot of folks that you might want to speak to after the fact. You know what I mean? Just think of like the Stan, Dirt Monkey Genetics, Keith Kalfas, all these people. Stan, I'm not saying Stan's going to be there, but I mean like all the different names that you can think of in the green industry. Think of that maybe in other parallel industries that you never even thought of or even knew existed, that have multi-million-dollar businesses that we're going to be interviewing. You might want to pick their brain too. Hey, how's it going, man? I overheard a little bit of what you were saying. That's awesome. So just a lot of great opportunities there. And don't forget to put in the code podcast. If you do click on the link in the episode notes, click podcast or type in podcast, and you'll save $25 off registration. So they're giving us that discount code for you guys as well, so that, you can save if you do want to go and check it out, because it will be a good time. So I hope to see you guys there.
$25 is a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
Boy, things are getting crazy down here. But one other thing I wanted to add to that, I was just at Jeremiah's a couple nights ago. I spent the night, and he's coming up on 250 podcast episodes, and I'm coming up on 1,000. And we're just sitting there talking, and I told him, I said, Jeremiah, I'm so burnt out. And I said, like, I mean, I'm burnt out. Like, and he was talking about how he's ebbed and flowed. And I'm like, you got 250. I was like, come see me after 750 more.
Burned out at 250.
Well, whatever.
No, I know.
Moment. But he says, and we were just talking about this as friends, and he's like, what it is for me is like, I'll do a few solo shows, and then I'll have a dud, where it's a interview with someone. And he's like, oh man. And he's like, but then I have a good interview, and I get my spark back. And why I love going to these events is twofold, Naylor. One, I heard a saying, your network is your net worth. So the
Right.
more network you get, I mean, just by being friends with you, Naylor, you've opened up so many doors for me at Equip with all kind. I mean, it would be crazy to like go down all those like actual. You open a door and then where it led. It's wild, wild. But anyway, the other thing is like to get to interview Keith Kalfas in person. That interview is going to be fun. To interview Marvin in person, you know, that's going to be value packed. Christine Hodge, value packed. Like, and to get those in person interviews for me, it's like such a no brainer. And also, like, I was talking with Jason Krill about this. I was just fresh out of a trip to Alabama. Me and Jason went golfing, and we were talking about this off air and a little bit on air. Like when we started our businesses, it was just business, 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 business. Like recreational time was kind of looked down upon. Like, you know, you're not an entrepreneur. What are you doing? Doing nothing. And
Yeah.
now we're like, we like legitimately viewed it as an investment in our business to go pay $40 and spend four hours to golf. And we laughed so much. It was just the two of us out there laughing like crazy, having fun. And it just got like our emotional well-being like brightened. They're like improved. They're like better. And
Yeah.
so sometimes it's good to plan. The almonds do this great. They have these little 72-hour trips that they intentionally plan. So just like going to Nashville, even if you don't catch every single speaker, if you take your wife to Nashville for a few days, August 23rd to 25th, go downtown, catch a restaurant, or I don't know what people do downtown, but I go to bed by 9 p.m. Like I'm telling you, I'm like being so much more intentional to have fun, to go golfing, to go to Nashville, to do these type things. And so in our toxic entrepreneurship culture of like grind, you know, and I'm not throwing shade at the grind. Our friend Brian Ring called grinding, but grinding, hustling, working all
Right.
the time, like you'll burn out. And you got to go do something fun. And Nashville is way more fun than Louisville. But
Right.
I'll transition into Louisville now. How about that?
There you
So,
go.
but it's a lot easier to sell Nashville than Louisville. But I go to the EQUIP as Caleb Allman calls it. So I want to talk to you about the EQUIP Expo. We both go every single year. It's an absolute staple on my schedule. What's new with the rally this year, rookie?
Yeah, so I heard you let the cat out the bag already, so that's I know you couldn't restrain yourself, and that's fine.
Sorry.
It's all good. I hear you. I you know, it is what it is, man. I appreciate you you know, generating that buzz and that hype, but a lot of logistical things in the background, but what had happened was so this year's the 40th anniversary for Equip. So they're having big celebrations. They're going bigger and better than last year, which is already a lot of new additional things. They're rebranding some things such as Influencer Live to the morning show at Expo, adding more things on and so on, and adjusting things. You know, just like the reception at the outside field that they had, that's going to be inside and so on. So what they decided to do was to rent the Yum Center or utilize the Yum Center for all the different things that they're doing, all the celebrations and receptions and so on, the concerts. So I was able to coordinate for us to have the largest VIP room in the Yum Center, the KFC Yum Center, the huge arena where the concerts and everything are going to be. So this way, not only do we have better parking, better ease of if we're staying at hotels downtown, or you can just take a shuttle to a hotel downtown from the Expo Center and head on down. So it's just easier to get to than some of the previous locations for the rally, and park and so on. But also we're right there where the concert and everything is. So we're literally going to be upstairs in this massive room, VIP area overlooking the water, all windows, go out in the balcony and check out the river and all that. It's going to be epic, to be honest. Cash bar, food catered, exact same thing as what everyone always is used to. It's just going to be indoors at this arena upstairs. And then when we want to go check out the main concert downstairs, we just hit the old down button on the elevator and just head on down and check out the concert. So this way we don't have to worry about choosing, do we go to the rally? Do we go to the concert? How do we do both? We leave a little early for one. Now, what about parking? And I remember last year it was a little stressful for a lot of folks trying to do both. And some people skipped the rally and just went downtown, or they just stayed at the rally and skipped downtown. And obviously everyone has their own preferences. So you're obviously you're going to do what you need to do. But I was hoping to try and alleviate some of that unnecessary pressure and stress and decisions, just make it more convenient and participate in the 40th anniversary celebrations for EQUIP, because EQUIP is what really was the reason to bring us all together, right? If EQUIP didn't exist, we would have never had a rally. That wouldn't have happened there at EQUIP anyway. It was just a good opportunity for us to go to this trade show many years ago that that the community stumbled upon, and just obviously make content, and learn about things, try out the different equipment, meet each other, meet new folks, folks that we got to know through social media, and finally put a face to the name and all that stuff, or a face to the profile, right? And just have a good time. And then afterwards, find a place to meet up. And first time it was like the pizza place, right? The restaurant right down the street, and we outgrew that. And then I got a separate venue, the Mega Caverns, and then Copper and Kings, and brands brands that we know and love like Echo have been participating all that time, helping to pay the bill, so no one has to pay for it. It's free. You just come in, you get to eat, first come, first serve. Get free shirts for attending that has all the brands on it and so on. And some of the brands give away things like a mower, backpack blower, gift certificates, free memberships, to different CRMs, as well as they bring swag and stuff on the tables to give away hats, shirts. Sometimes it's over the recent years, it's been like specific swag just for the rally. I mean, how epic is that? Where you have to go to the rally to actually get the special Toro hat or whatever it is. You can't even get it at the expo itself. So it's really becoming a great community event, and I just want to keep the momentum going, and I don't want us to be divided or spread out or split up or conflicted on where should we go, when, and what. So now we can do it all. We can go to the rally from 6 to 8, and then we can just go right downstairs and to the concert and have a good time, and never even leave like the area, and just be able to hang out together. So huge community night. Thursday night's going to be epic.
It's going to be epic. And what's exciting to me, I'm staying at the Galt House this year, downtown Louisville.
Right next to it.
I know. So what I'm going to do is, after the trade show for the day, Lord willing, I'll get out of there at a decent hour.
We say that every year, and then something happens,
man.
I was early last year though.
Yeah, you were to your own party, but my plan is to leave the EQUIP Expo and just drive straight back to the Galt House, hopefully get a quick shower, because I'll be, after hanging out there all day, just a real quick refresher shower.
That's what I tried 2 years ago and was late to my own party.
You would pay Jack. Check the mail. So long story short, how awesome is that for everyone staying at the Marriott, the Gold House, the Omni? We can just park at the hotel and literally walk the Yum Center. You can see it out the window of the Gold House. It's right across the street, literally across the street. Because I was in the little gym at the Galt House. And by the way, great job, Brooke, on your working out, man. Your reel popped up today with your bicep popping out of your arm. But
get back in the gym,
But when you're at the Galt House, at the training room, at the workout room, it looks down on the roof of the Yum Center, which is pretty cool. Guys were on the roof pressure watching, and I was sitting there on the bike watching them. And because at the Gold House, the weight room is like at the top of the hotel, so it was pretty cool to be like looking down at the Yum Center. But I'm excited about that, because the biggest problem where we had it last year, 2 years, well, one was there's a weird smell from, like, I don't know, there's different rumors of what it was, but it was noticeable. But the biggest problem was the parking. Like, I can't tell you how many people complained to me, like, man, Paul, like, there was nowhere to park. I had to park, like, next to a tree in some lady's yard. Like, so this is huge, because there's even if you're not staying, and I do recommend, stay at the Galt House, stay at the Omni Hotel, stay at the Marriott. Those are really nice hotels downtown. Like, go big or go home. But even if you're staying at the Red Roof Inn, which you shouldn't, but if you are, there's plenty of places to park at the Yum Center that are convenient, way more convenient. it's like a 20,000 seat arena where the Louisville Cardinal, they're one of the best basketball teams in college basketball. So they
Right.
have the parking set up,
Garages and everything. Yeah.
set up to handle those 20,000 sold out home games. So they'll easily be able to handle our little, 5, 6, 7, 800 guys coming
Right.
have dinner. So
And also in the event that you are staying at a different hotel that's like closer to the KEC, the Kentucky Exposition Center, if you're up there at the select hotels around that area, they all have shuttles, or the ones that do have shuttles, you could just leave your car parked at that hotel with your parking pass, take the shuttle down to the other hotels, down to the downtown, down to 4th Street, down to the Galt House, wherever the stops are. Maybe they will stop at the Yum Center, but you can just take the shuttle down and take the shuttle back, or take an Uber back, whatever. So you don't even have to worry. There's so many different ways now to get down there and participate. So a lot of interesting things with the location now of us being at the Yum Center. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to it, guys. And all the links and everything are going to be updated on my podcast, if not already when you hear this, coming soon. So be on the lookout to the LCR Media podcast and or LCR Media on Instagram as well. It'll be in the link tree or whatever on there
yeah,
too.
and you have an excellent Facebook group, Road to EQUIP Expo. I'm sure you'll be keeping
Yes.
updates in there on
Yes.
Facebook.
Thank you for mentioning that as well. Yeah, there's the Facebook group Road to Equip that we've been doing for many years now to help keep things organized and, communicate all these different things, right? There's a lot of different spin-off events and meetups all over the place, and people just asking legitimate questions, or hey, I'm in town, who's going to be in town on Tuesday or Monday or this or that, what's going on? And just a great hub for everyone to communicate and just network. And that's what I wanted, all for Equip. We've got like 2,500 people on that group that are all about Equip. And that's a lot of people in a Facebook group that are just going to Equip, want to go to Equip, planning one day to go to Equip, just living vicariously maybe through all of us that are going, and so on, like people from other parts of the world that can't go every year, but they still want to follow along and see. And when they do, they're very informed because they're following along in the group. But yes, all the information will be in there too. I'm always updating, and I will be updating and posting, and having the announcements up at the top of the group. So Road to Equip. If you go on Facebook and just type Road to, it's bound to come up. It's pretty popular Facebook group, but it's Road to Equip.
So good, Naylor. And I know it's Friday night as we're recording this, and you live on your lake house, and you got a wife, so you got to go out to the lake for the weekend.
Yeah, I got to grab my son and head to the gym, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, just super quick, super speed. Talk about the morning show in rapid fire time.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up as well. So, like I said previously, or a little earlier in the broadcast here, one of the many things that Equip did was rebrand Influencer Live to the morning show at Expo, and make it a permanent part of the itinerary for Equip. So I mean, when you go on their website, it's pretty epic, and you look at the agenda and the events, the event center and all that, like we're there, the morning show at Expo, and it's got all of our pictures. So you got the pot. So for those of you that have never heard of it or what this is, we're live on stage recording 3 separate podcasts back to back with a live studio audience. That also, Paul, whenever you've talked about this recently, you haven't mentioned this. So remember, the unique part of this is it's actually a live studio audience, and they get to ask us questions.
Yes.
So so John Pajak will be in the audience. You were initially, back in the day, one in the audience.
I the Creel, and he screwed that
one. Yeah. So the live studio audience gets to ask the host, the guests, all the above questions, and we answer them live on stage, and it's all being recorded for our podcast. So starts off with my podcast, LCR Media Podcast, and I interview a guest. And then we have Caleb Allman with the Kid Contractor Podcast. He interviews a guest, and then you, Paul, with the Green Street Podcast as well. You bring it home. So we have those 3 consecutive 25-minute episodes with a 5-minute break twice in between, with some commercials to get, so we can switch out. We move around the different seats. The guests come off from out of the audience on stage, and vice versa. So we have nice furniture now on the stage, and big screens, on multiple sides. The room goes long and wide, like it's like 3 massive rooms connected together, like all the partitions are up, and people are just spread all the way out, and they have their own screens over there, so they don't have to squint to see us all the way in the middle. And it's pretty epic. It's become this really amazing experience. Last year it was wall to wall, double row standing only. Um, 3 walls, of everyone's just standing in. Everyone's frantically running around to find chairs in other rooms so people didn't have to sit for an hour, because it was like right after we started, it was just packed, lined, and it's an hour and a half show from 8 to 9:30. So before the show even starts, 8 a.m., before the expo even opens, you get to go in with your badge, 8 a.m., head right into the morning show at Expo, and then you can participate in there as the audience if you have questions and so on. And then 9:30, head on out. I mean, you can hang out and talk and get pictures or whatever. And we can talk shop, but then you can head right out into the expo, which it opens at 9 o'clock, and you can go in the indoor, outdoor demo stuff and have a good old time. And because that's the first full day is Thursday. So once the morning show at Expo is done, everyone's hyped and ready to go and get after it for a full day at the expo. But real quick, the 3 guests that we have this year, who are they, Paul? I know you know.
Keith Kalfas at 8 a.m. with Naylor. Jeremiah Jenkins at 8:30 with
Jeremiah Jake.
Jeremiah Jennings.
No, not Jeremiah. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, Jeremiah Jennings. You got me all.
Caleb Allman doesn't know his last name, so he calls him Jeremiah Jenkins with a straight face. And Jeremiah's like, my last name Jennings. Savannah's so polite, they don't say nothing. But Caleb. All right,
Caleb.
Today on the Kid Contractor Podcast, we're talking to Jeremiah Jenkins. We're all looking at each other like Caleb is last. But anyway,
so Caleb's interviewing Jeremiah.
Yeah, and then
the Growing Green podcast.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to interviewing Jeremy Jacobs. His actual name, I guess, is Jeremy Connect, but his business name is Jeremy Jacobs, and he's got a really
J Jacobs, right, on Instagram.
Oh yeah, he's got a big old Instagram, and he's got a phenomenal business in Illinois. And he's just a really quality, wholesome person. And so I'm really looking forward to talking with Jeremy Jacobs.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be exciting, man. I can't wait. So again, that's free with your registration on Thursday morning from 8 to 9:30. So I hope to see you guys there.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Rook. I'll let you get to the gym. Your shoulders are popping out of that clean cut shirt for our friends listening to the audio. You're in great shape, man. Keep up the good work. So I'll let you go to the gym and get that pump.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.